I stepped out here, I decided I'd put something in on about this whole election stuff that has been going on. Um, I know there's been a lot of people talking about it, but this one really decided to make me talk about it. I mean, it's now or never for Democrats to either pass H.R. 1 or watch voter suppression bills like Georgia's become the norm. I'm still trying to figure out after reading the actual bill, I'm still trying to figure out how it's suppressive. I mean, they're calling it as a warning shot, and they're saying that it's the expression of the author. Well, you published it on your site without an indication it's an opinion piece. They just said the title of the article is what it is. Now, I'm going to skip all this, but it came. They're getting their information from a New York Times analysis, and it seems like sometimes the New York Times has issues with stating the right things. I mean, they're saying that limit the window of time to request an FC ballot. There's probably a reason for that. I mean, let's put it this way: you can put the request form on the internet, and it take a lot less time to actually get those forms filled out and submitted than it would to have them receive paper forms and then fill them out and submit them. And it makes it illegal for election officials to mail absentee ballots to all voters. I do see a problem with that, and I will put it this way: why do you need to be mailing absentee ballots to everyone? Because there's an issue with that. And then criminal penalties for anyone who gives water to voters in long lines. That one, I know a lot of people are complaining about, but I found something in the thing stating why you can't do that, but they're going to be lenient on family members bringing water and stuff to other family members. It severely limits the number of ballot drop boxes. I found something on that. I mean, I'm not saying these are wrong or right. I'm going to read what I found on them, and you can make your decision on that. But so far, from what my understanding, this is kind of all wrong. And let's see, replaces Secretary of State as chair of the state election board with someone elected from the state legislature. I'm going to show you something on that one. And yes, it says they do have the power to remove municipal and county election officials and replace them with appointed by partisan state lawmakers. Yes, they do, but well, not like by the lawmakers, but not partisan. Did not find a single word saying by partisan. It would be it'd be it wouldn't be the state legislature. If I got it correctly, it was the election board, not the legislator. And the chair, I'm going to pull. I actually found the actual thing, and I'm going to start with from top to bottom, in the middle. But like I wrote down a list of talking points that I like for the chairperson, which it went by the sentence over here on the side. So 205, sentence 205, and I will actually attach this to it. But it says the chairperson of the board shall be nonpartisan. So it's not from the legislator; it's a nonpartisan person. At no time during his or her service as chairperson shall be the chairperson actively participate in a political party, organization, or in the campaign of a candidate for public office. So they're not supposed to have a tie to any form of legislator. any legislator. Furthermore, to qualify for appointment as chairperson in the 2 years immediately preceding his or her appointment, a person shall not have qualified as a partisan candidate for public office, participated in a political party organization, or the campaign of partisan candidates for public office, or made any campaign contributions to a partisan candidate for public office. So that renders part of that mute. It's not their claim as a legislator. That one actually was false. And I got something 270. I wrote down 270. After following the procedures set forth in code section, I don't have that up, but the state election board may suspend county. Oh, I found that. County or municipal superintendents and appoint an individual to serve as a temporary superintendent in a jurisdiction. Such individual shall exercise all the powers and duties of a superintendent as provided by law, including the authority to make all personnel decisions related to any employees of the jurisdiction who assist with carrying out the duties of superintendent, including but not limited to the director of elections, the election supervisor, and all poll officers. At no time shall the state election board suspend more than 4 county or municipal superintendents pursuant to subsection F of the code listed. The Secretary of State shall, upon the request of the State Election Board, provide any and all necessary support and assistance that the State Election Board, in its sole discretion, determines is necessary to enforce this chapter to carry out or conduct any of its duties. So, yes, it has the power, but the chairperson is nonpartisan. But I'm pretty sure if I look this up, actually, it's pretty easy. You just click, drag, you copy, you go here, paste, and a lot of things. And let's see. Yep, that's the Georgia code. And I've been using this. So you pull it up. And what section was that? They're talking about? It's after following the procedure set forth in that code. And I pulled up some other ones. No person elected on a write-in vote shall be eligible to hold office unless notice of his or her intention of candidacy was filled and published. Yeah, in state general or special election, notice shall be filled with the Secretary of State and published in a newspaper. In general or special elections, and so you can just look it up. No person shall be eligible as a write-in candidate, Secretary of State, or appropriate municipal stuff. Yeah, this is just candidates stuff. But see, that's showing that they're wanting a nonpartisan individual running this stuff, so they can make sure no political affiliations kind of sway their judgment, and they can be removed if they show political bias. That's what needs to be done. You cannot be in a voting thing and you're gonna try to enforce your political beliefs on other things. All right, now let's go to the absentee ballot. Yeah. And I'm gonna just type in the number to get me there a little bit quicker. If I bounce around, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. Absentee ballots. Other than ballots delivered electronically to qualified electors who are entitled to vote by absentee ballot under the Federal Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Act, 25 U.S.C., like soldiers or stuff like that, or family members stationed overseas. The ballot should be printed on security paper that incorporates features which can be used to authenticate the ballot as an official ballot, but which do not make the ballot identifiable to a particular elector. So, making it so that they can tell fake ballots from real ballots. I think that's a good thing. Let's go to the next section I enjoyed. Except for as otherwise described in section 21 to 2019. 219 for advanced voting described in subsection D of the code section 21-2-385. I believe that was the same. That was the code for military. Not earlier than 78 days or less than 11 days prior to the date of the primary or election or runoff of either, in which the elector desires to vote. Any absentee elector may make either by mail, by facsimile transmission, by electronic transmission, or in person in the registrar's or absentee ballot clerk's office an application for an official ballot of the elector's precinct to be voted at such primary election or runoff. So yes, you have multiple ways: electronic, email, facsimile, like a fax machine. You can still do mail or go in there in person. So you have so many different ways to do it. They don't have to run through hand paperwork and all this trying to figure out who needs a ballot still. A lot of this stuff can be done electronically. And I can tell you this, working in the administrative department for the military, once you get things set up a program set up, it runs pretty smoothly. I mean, you can go on Excel and you can make a special mark that would turn someone's information a certain color, stating yes, this person has been sent out. This person has been sent this. Da 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 da. And it can be shared throughout the department so they understand that, yeah, hey, this guy they got their ballots. Nah. To be timely received, an application or absentee by mail ballot shall be received by the board or registrars or absentee ballot clerk no later than 11 days prior to the primary election or runoff. For advanced voting in person, the application shall be made within the time period set forth in subsection D, section 21-2-385. I don't have that up, but you get the gist of that. Now go to sentence 944. Any person applying for an absentee ballot by mail shall make application in writing on the form made available by the Secretary of State. In order to confirm the identity of the voter, such a form shall require the elector to provide his or her name, date of birth, address as registered address where the elector wishes the ballot to be mailed, and the number of his or her Georgia driver's license or identification card, pursuant to Article 5 of Chapter 5 of Title 40. And you can look these up. It's not that hard. I mean, I always find these. If such elector does not have a Georgia driver's license or identification card issued to pursuant to Article 5 of Chapter 5 of Title 40, the elector shall affirm this fact in the manner prescribed in the application, and the elector shall provide a copy of a form of identification listed in subsection C of Code 21-2-417. And I will pull that up, actually. I have it right here. I can't remember what subsection was that. Section C. Section C. An elector who registers to vote by mail but did not comply with the subsection C code section. I'm not going to go back to that one. And who votes for the first time in this state shall present to the poll worker either one of the forms of identification listed in subsection A, which is a Georgia driver's license, which is properly issued by the appropriate state agency, a valid Georgia voter identification card issued under 417.1, or other valid identification card issued by a branch, department, agency, or entity of the state of Georgia, any other state, or the United States authorized by law to issue personal identifications, provided that such identification card contains a photograph of the elector. I mean, a valid United States passport, a valid employee identification card containing a photograph of the elector and issued by any branch, department, agency, or entity of the United States government, this state, or any county, municipality, board, authority, or entity of the state. You got the military ID, a valid tribal card containing a photograph of the elector. Now, see, that's the identification. So if you got any of those, you're fine. Now, there's something that came across in here, which I'll continue on with this. The form made available by the Secretary of State shall include a space to affix a photocopy or electronic image of such identification. And they retracted, being writing, and shall contain sufficient information. Now, where was that? 56. Yeah, I went through all that. Now we're gonna go. I'm gonna do 965, which I think that's it. All right. A blank application for an absentee ballot should be made available online by the Secretary of State, and each election superintendent register. But either the Secretary of State, Election Superintendent Board, or registers other governmental entity, nor employee or agent, therefore, shall send absentee ballot applications directly to any elector except upon request of such elector, or a relative authorized to request on an absentee ballot for such elector. See, and that's what they're complaining about. They're saying, "Oh, you can't send them out." They can send them out as long as they're requested. You can't just send them out. I mean, I've got a bunch of I ended up with a bunch of absentee ballot request forms, and every time I got one, pissed me off. I pretty much was destroyed them every time I got one, because I go in person to vote, and technically that is also considered waste. You're wasting we're wasting taxpayer money on sending out absentee ballot request forms or absentee ballots that no one requested. Some people don't understand it. No, and they have to be an authorized person to request the absentee ballot. All right. All right. Now I'm gonna go do something. I know I came across something that really got my attention. That's the request of jail. I think that's the page number. I forgot. I got a list of the talking points I got. Let's see. Okay, and then I'm gonna go 99. But as I pointed out, yes, you get, and it has anyone holding these ballots has to be an authorized individual. You can't just have someone go into a. It had to be authorized by that elector. If the elector did not authorize it, and that person probably gonna get arrested and thrown in jail. So, say a family member helped them, but uh, yeah, I've read in here somewhere that the elector gets to do it on their own, no one around, in privacy. Then, so if they claim they were in private, then they can go. Someone can get in trouble. All right, now let's go back to where I was at. I was 99. Upon request, electors held in jails or other detention facilities who are eligible to vote shall be granted access to necessary personnel effects for the purpose of applying for and voting an absentee ballot pursuant to this chapter. So if they try to say this prevents those in jail from voting, find this section and you can show them. And I'm doing this to show that you gotta read these instead of just listening to the news. Because I have not, so far, I have not read anything that hinders people from voting. Will keep people from voting. All right. Let's see. Next section, 1025. All persons or entities other than the Secretary of State, Election Superintendent Boards, or registers and absentee ballot clerks that send applications for absentee ballots to electors in a primary election or other shall mail such application only to individuals who have not already requested received or voted an absentee ballot in the primary election or runoff. So you can't. People who are trying to support a political party cannot send one. It has to be those individuals. Each person or entity shall compare its mail distribution list with the most recent information available about electors have requested, been issued, or voted an absentee ballot in the primary, election, or runoff, and shall remove the names of such electors from its mail distribution list. So if they've already received one or have already requested one, they don't get another one. A person or entity shall not be liable for any violation of this paragraph if such person or entity relied upon information made available by the Secretary of State within 5 business days prior to the date of such applications are mailed. So, if they were going to use that as a way saying that they would get in trouble even if they mailed one out, even based on the information they had, this says they will not be held liable for it. So it proves that point wrong. And yes, this is a person or entity in violation of paragraph A of this paragraph shall be subject to sanctions by the state. Yes. So if they send it out to someone who has not requested it or anything like that, or they violate the rule, yes, they can get $100, have to pay $100 per absentee ballot application that was processed. I know I skip a lot of things, but I will post a link to this because this is actually off the Georgia website, government website. All you have to do is go to websites and look up their stuff, this kind of stuff, and you'll be able to see in black and white. You may have to go bouncing back and forth between different other articles or codes just to piece some stuff together. If the applicant does not contain the number of applicant's driver's license or identification card issued pursuant to Article 5 of Chapter 5, yada yada, the registrar or absentee ballot clerk shall verify that identification provided with that identification provided with the application identifies the applicant. Okay, now I'm going into efforts to validate, which is this whole page. I'm gonna kind of basically pick some things out. Yeah, they will send provisional ballots if there was like an issue. Mismatch between the identifying information of the elector. There was, I believe it was in here that also says they will even go as far as to verify social security number, well, last 4 years social security number to verify, like even mail for you. Even some mail will work. I mean, like bills. If you get a city bill for water, bill for electricity, those work. And this was not changed. They changed some work. Yeah, they got rid of signature and added certain things. But this usually when it's underlined, or if it's underlined, it's an addition. If it's stricken through, it means it was removed. I've learned that from not only reading some of these, but it's kind of understandable. So I'm going to go to the ballot box now. I know I'm kind of just flying through some of this, but if you want to read it, I would recommend it. If you want to, if someone you know has read through everything, thinking they know everything, and they're just reading news article, state news articles, and I've actually pointed something out that is against points out that the news article was wrong. You can pull this up, bring up that section, and point it out. All right, where was I? 1172. A board of registers or absentee ballot clerks shall establish at least one drop box as means for absentee by mail electors to deliver their ballots to the board of registers or absentee ballot clerk. Now, I'm gonna skip down, but they got they got their block box, the boxes set up in this as well. They start off with one, but for every 100,000 active registered voters, they will add an additional drop box in an additional location. So for every 100,000, there's a drop box. Okay, so they're not lessening them. Well, they're lessening them in a way, but it gives them more control of them to make sure no one's breaking into them or stuff like that. Now, I did not put this down because this is a long section, but they give out a description on how to do it and how the box should be set up to make sure it's not tampered with or anything. And I know here in Iowa we have cameras on our lockbox on the boxes. I came across something when I come back. I think I'm going to the next readout. 1322. The uniform instruction shall prominently include specific instructions stating the elector shall mark his or her ballot in private and sign the oath by writing his or her usual signature with a pen and ink under penalty of false swearing that the elector has not allowed any person to observe the marking of his or her ballot other than an authorized person lawfully assigned to the elector if the elector is entitled to assistance. The elector child under 18 years of age or any children 12 years of age that the elector will not permit any unauthorized person to deliver. So, there you go. If one, if that person's not authorized, they can't touch that ballot. So, and let's see. I think I've already read a couple times. This is like the oath. I understand, do or affirm that I assisted the above named elector in marking such ballot. I mean, this is the person who's filled out the ballot. That's what he has to read and sign off on. This is the person carrying it. And reasons for assistance. Let's see. I figure I stop on that. I'm going to 14 sentence 1460. No, 1456. I almost forgot something. In order to verify that the absentee ballot was voted by the elector who requested the ballot, the elector shall print the number of his or her Georgia driver's license number or identification card issued pursuant to that article in the space provided on the after oath envelope. So, in 1462, this is right here, the elector shall also print his or her name, her date of birth on the space provided in the outer oath envelope. If the elector does not have a Georgia driver's license or state identification card issued pursuant to that Article 5, Chapter 5, The elector shall so affirm in the space provided on the outer oath envelope and print the last four digits of his or her social security number in the space provided on the outer oath envelope. Yeah. Now, if the elector does not have the Georgia license, I kind of missed this, card issued pursuant to our social security number, the elector shall so affirm in the space provided on the outer oath envelope and place a copy of one of the forms identified as set forth in subsection C of Code 2417. Elector, yeah. And under this section right here. So if they're in a code, that means it's been there. Now, I've been going for a while, but it goes on to where they publish the voting places and times where they can put them, commerce areas, high commerce areas, how they tabulate the absentee ballots. They have actually open view of the calculation browsing to the public and monitors, and how the monitors are selected. There's ways that they've had if the voting is going to take longer to do. A judge will be able to authorize to adjust it to add more time. Poll watching, and as you go down, I wasn't expecting this video to be so long, but of course I'm going through this 1858. The locations designated by the superintendent shall ensure that each poll watcher can fairly observe the procedures set forth in this code section 32. So yeah, and you can't serve as a poll watcher unless they completed training, so they don't want that. Now let's get to the food and stuff. Now I follow this section. No person shall solicit votes in any manner or by any means or method, nor shall any person distribute or display any campaign material, nor shall any person give, offer to give, or participate in the giving of any money or gifts, including, but not limited to food and drink to an elector, nor shall any person solicit signatures for any petition, nor shall any person other than election officials discharge their duties, establish or set up any tables or booths on any date in which ballots are being cast. So, now, it is mainly just water dispute. But it says give or participate in giving, but it's pretty much the same thing. If you're supporting a political party, you can't go in there and do that. That's what they're pretty much meaning. Okay, you can't be within 150 feet of the outer edge of any building within which a polling place is established, with any polling place, or within 25 feet of any voter standing in line to vote in any polling place. These restrictions shall not apply to conduct occurring in private houses or areas which cannot be seen or heard by such elector. So, if you want to give someone something, you'd have to pull them off to the side and do it. But here's something I come across. Okay, this goes. Okay, I'm going to read this whole section. This code section shall not be construed to prohibit a poll officer from distributing materials as required by law, which are necessary for the purpose of instructing electors, or from distributing materials prepared by the Secretary of State, which are designed solely for the purpose of encouraging voter participation in the elections being conducted, or from making available self-service water from an unattended receptacle to an elector waiting in line to vote. So that is wrong. The individuals have access to water. Right there says, as if they if so the person that people that are running the election area are the ones supposed to be giving out the water. Well, have a way to get for water, and so they can set up a table themselves with a cooler on it with water, and you can just go ahead and like in the line, and they can and it'd be fine. Claiming that people can't the water thing has just been I just pointed out is now mute argument. They have water, so you could kindly request that when the election time comes, these moderators put out water if you know lines are gonna be long. And but you're gonna want to say, oh, people can't bring water, and that's one of the things is they can actually also I believe the only people that should be attending those is someone's like should be going around checking to make sure there's still water in them. If not, bring more water in. I mean, they can authorize someone to do that. But it seems like they want to claim that it's they're not doing it. They're not allowing people to vote or bring water. And I think that's just something I enjoy doing is going through new laws that are being passed and looking for things. I mean, you just gotta do research. And it's time for me to get off because this video is getting almost been about 40 minutes. I will see you next time, and I hope this has been informational, enlightening to some people. And I'm gonna just say it this way: if you think this is not this is different than what you heard, and this is still wrong, go and go find that information where you heard it from, and you can show it to me. Maybe everybody a nice little conversation about it. I'll see you next time.